So I am here with David Dixon. Dr. David Dixon is care and counseling pastor for Carmel, and I am Wendy Scanderi, director of Carmel Counseling and care and counseling minister. And we just wanted to chat a little bit about marriages, especially marriages right now, how they are faring during this time of COVID-19 with so much more stress, etc., that we are all dealing with.
Yeah.
So, David, I'd like to ask you what you're seeing, what you're seeing, or what you're possibly seeing as it relates to marriages during this time of COVID-19.
I think probably for the most part, I think marriages that were doing well prior to the crisis or under the stress and under the anxiety and the uncertainty are probably still doing well. And those that aren't or that weren't doing well before the crisis are probably still not or doing worse. Couples in times of stress do usually two things. Healthy couples in times of stress turn towards each other. Unhealthy couples turn away from each other. So healthy couples tend to be, as they turn towards each other, they're allies, so to speak. And under times of stress, unhealthy couples tend to be enemies and turn away from each other. So that's usually what goes on, and I would say that's probably pretty standard of what I'm seeing right now.
Mm-hmm. And so when you would be talking about maybe cracks in the relationship or cracks in the marriage, is that maybe what you're talking about, or would there be something else that you would talk about as when you might be seeing those cracks?
Yeah, when I describe marriage, I tell people there are usually three ingredients that grow a healthy marriage, and the first one is, and I put it in a triangle. The base of that triangle is a sense of trust, and so healthy marriages have a basic sense of trust. They see each other in the roles that they play as husband and wife, and they support each other in that. And so from a Christian point of view, they understand their roles there in Ephesians 5, and they live that way, and they support each other through that. And they really believe that trust. They really believe that other person's going to come through with them in times of stress. The other part of that triangle is a sense of mutual respect. And I think healthy couples have a sense of respect for one another. Again, from that Christian point of view, they really see each other from a Genesis 1 standpoint of that person is created in the image of God. And so I love them that way, and I respect them that way. And I think from a biblical point of view, for my wife and I not only see her as my wife, but I see her as a sister in Christ. So I speak to her that way. And so how we communicate is seasoned with usually grace and mercy most of the times. And so there's this common mutual respect there. And then that third side of the triangle is usually this sense of freedom. You know, God's love for us is never controlling. In times of stress, unhealthy couples tend to control each other, and they demand things from each other. But in healthy couples, the opposite is true. There's a sense of freedom. There's a sense of support. There's a sense of, I want what's best for you. There's no demanding. There is a sense of biblical responsibility because I built trust, I built mutual respect, and therefore there's this responsibility of maybe things that I need to be taken care of during the week for my wife or for her to me. But there's always that freedom there and never a demanding sense. So unhealthy couples tend to blame and argue and get personal. And those are those cracks that begin to be exposed in times like this.
So trust, respect, and freedom are those pillars that point to a really healthy marriage. Mm-hmm. What would a couple be looking for to know that they are in trouble?
Well, I think some of those signs that I would say are they begin to blame. they can't get out of the blame game. When I see couples and they're blaming each other, I usually begin to separate them and see them individually to begin to reflect on themselves. So I think healthy couples tend not to blame. Unhealthy couples, their blame gets really toxic, and that environment is really not fun. So when I'm working with couples, the one thing they have to give up is blame in order to be able to work with each other. I think the other thing that I always ask them to do is that they really can only change one person, and that's themselves. So they really have to have that spirit going into marriage counseling, that I'm not here to change the other person. I'm here to learn about me and change. And so those are two things I would say healthy couples need, or unhealthy couples would need to do.
Yeah, okay. So if a couple recognizes that they might be experiencing some trouble in their marriage, what can they do to get help?
At the counseling center, be able to call in or now email into that counseling inquiry at carmelbaptist.org. They can go to our website, www.carmelcounselingcenter.org, and find that information. But obviously, in this time of telehealth, a lot of us are doing a lot of couples counseling. So don't feel like you have to go through this time alone. There is help.
Yeah, and I've noticed there's a lot more flexibility even in the scheduling of couples counseling to maybe be able to see the couples when the kids are in bed, etc., for some privacy.
Yeah, we can work with them.
Well, thank you, David, for this chat on marriages.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.